Hello, in my continuing video. Today we're gonna take a look at Xerneas in the Open Ultra League here. Xerneas got recently buffed by Tackle being now able to generate more energy, being now a water gun clone basically, as this Pokemon only has very horrible fast moves, to be honest. Like with Tackle, it's also not the ideal scenario, but now at least it has a fast move that generates some energy, which is especially going to be good in the Master League, as of course these stats are more like something like a Dialga in the Ultra League right now. But like this stats are not the ideal version for the Ultra League, so I'm going to hopefully can showcase this Pokemon as well in the Master League, but I need XL Kenny, so like whenever this Pokemon comes back into raids we can do this. But for now we can take a look at the Ultra League version of this. Xerneas now gains way more energy, which is going to allow it to get to the moves like Close Combat and Play Rough way easier, which is the main idea of this team anyway. You're going to have a lead that's going to be very good against something like Nidoqueen, which is going to be the most common poison type, but also against all the other poison type with the Swampert here. And then you're going to have two Pokemon in the back that are both fairies. Your Say Swap of the Xerneas is going to be able to, by the way, look at this catching an energy ball is kind of important for my Swampert there. I wouldn't have shielded. But yeah, the Xerneas is going to try out to get out the counter for the fairy types. Hopefully steel type, because you have access to close combat, and you're going to be able, for example, against a G-Fisk to still survive one Earthquake. We see here them going for a charge move I could have thrown earlier, which would have been a little bit better as I still had my shield then left, but it's fine. We can go for one Hydro Cannon here, and we see an Umbreon now coming in, and our Ninetales has a very great time against Umbreon. We see a Gargantuar now coming in at the end as well, which is going to be nice, as this one does not want to face my Ninetales whatsoever. We can just shield up, going to be an Energy Ball, and farm it all the way down, as Gargantuar is pretty squishy. We can now see the next opponent having a Warren in the lead there. That's kind of awkward, as our lead kind of loses against this, and we can go into our Xerneas trying to go for some close combats. We can survive two charge moves here, which is kind of nice. We have some lag though, so we're going to throw now. I didn't really want to get farmed down or get hit by an Earthquake, and they're going to shield up, which is fine because we can let it go. And now align our Ninetales against it after we raided out the clock, because we are switch locked. So we kind of didn't want to get into this matchup. If they have something like a Talonflame in the back, this wouldn't be the most ideal scenario, but yeah. Maybe someday we're going to get a special move on Xerneas as well. It has like a signature move, Geomancy, which would be then hopefully cool fast move, but I'm not sure. But right now, sadly, this Pokemon will not be able to learn something like Fairy Wind. There are actually some other Pokemon which I also really would like to have them learn Fairy Wind. For example, Shiinotic got recently found into the code, which would have been a cool Pokemon with Fairy Wind, but sadly it doesn't learn it, so kind of annoying. Here we perfectly catch, of course, the Grass Knot, and we have to surrender now because the Grass Knot was not the one that I wanted to catch there, but it's fine. And yeah, we're just gonna go into the next game. We have a Deoxys in the lead. That's kind of awkward. We try to catch the move, and we see that we get out the Stunfisk, which is amazing for us. This is our best buddy Stunfisk. We can go and let the first move go through. It's going to be an Earthquake, and we're actually going to be able to get to two close combats before they can get now to one Rock Slide still. So this looks pretty okay-ish for us. They can farm us down though, so like it's going to be a little tough. But we're going to be able to get actually a shielded advantage, and they're actually even throwing here, which is even better. Which means that we can now go into our Swampert, farm up extra energy, and go for one Hydro Cannon here to KO the opponent while still having a shield advantage. And also, what a nice swap by the opponent. Yeah, swapping the Scrafty into a Charm User. Very interesting swap there, like a lot of people, me included sometimes as well, just swapping randomly if the opponent is swapping, because they expect a good answer in the back when you swap. So yeah, could have been a good answer, but it was not really the best answer for my Pokemon. We still get to another charge move here, and we're going to put them into a range. We can just shield everything, see what they want to do. They can go for the Rock Slide base, but they will not be able to go for two Rock Slides and two Psycho Boosts in time to KO me, so there's nothing that they can do here. They can just shield if they want to and get hit by another Hydro Cannon, and that's exactly what they want to do here, which I don't really blame them. Everybody can play, of course, until the end, but this was pretty much over already. Next opponent has a Giratina in the lead. Giratina gets to the charge move after 5, so I'm going to swap after 5 and we get out the Politoed. Politoed is pretty okay for me. We can go for one Moonblast here, and this Moonblast is going to do a pretty nice amount of damage as they go for one charge move here now as well, which is going to be the Weather Ball. We can survive one. And they go for another move, which is going to be the Earthquake, which we can also survive. And we can shield once and realign. So now we have our Pokemon perfectly aligned so that we don't have to have our Swampert against the lead again. And we can get out the Stunfisk gear, which we really didn't want to have with our Ninetales in the back. And this is basically a perfect scenario for us, as we can now go ahead, go for one Hydro Cannon, get the first shield of my opponent. I can go for another one. Fine for me, even if they bait me, it's fine, but they go for the Earthquake and they go back into the Giratina as we catch perfectly the opposing Dragon Claw. I'm pretty sure actually that this matchup is not as nice as it seems like for the Ninetales if they would have the Ancient Power, because Ancient Power got boosted recently. I'm actually curious why people are not running Ancient Power too much on Giratina, especially if you have it in the lead. You can avoid like Steel types later on, so maybe Ancient Power would be the ideal scenario here. But it's fine, as we can go ahead, go for one more charge move here. If they want to shield, we still have one stored, and we go ahead and go for this stored move against this Stunfisk. Good game to my opponent. Nice undercharge, because it literally didn't matter, and we can go into the next game. Berserker lead looks pretty alright for us, as they go ahead and go into an Obstagoon. If you have an Obstagoon as a sales swap, usually they run something spicy for your fairy types coming in, so I'm going to shield this gang shit up. And now we have still our Berserker, like the Berserker lined against our Ninetales, which is not ideal. They have, of course, the neutral fast move and also the neutral charge move of close combat, but they cannot really go for the foul play, so they kind of have to debuff themselves, which should be pretty okay. Let's see what they want to do here. They go for the close combat, KOing us, and we go into our Xerneas, as Xerneas is going to be able to resist all the charge moves here. And we see a Machamp coming in. This is kind of awkward, to be honest. I'm going to let this move go through here and see what they want to do. I have to get some kind of advantage, so I'm going to go for one close combat now. Close combat will be able to get one shield, definitely, and I can go ahead, go into my Swampert and go for some Hydro Cannons. And I should be able to outspeed them before they can KO me, but I'm not sure yet. So we're going to shield this one up. Can they get to another move? Please don't. And they do, which sadly, never mind. We still can survive it. And we can now hopefully farm down the opposing Berserker afterwards, because I kind of hope they can, but it's going to come down to the wire. But we can actually just tackle it down with our fairy type there, as we see another Deoxys in the lead there, which is going to be a little bit tricky. But again, we see an Obstagoon, but this time around they go straight for the charge move, which is going to be an Obstruct, which is actually fine for us, because now we can just get more farm, I guess. It just literally doesn't matter, we just can farm it all the way down anyway. They go for Night Slash, they didn't get the boost, they can go for another Night Slash, and we know already that this will not KO. We can go for one more charm and then go for a charge move here against this Deoxys, and now we have two stored. We can go for both of them at the same time, and they will be able to KO us after the second version here, after the second Weather Ball. So we can now go back into our Swampert, try to go for some charge moves. They go straight for the Psycho Boost, and let's see what they have in the back. It's going to be a Scrafty. Scrafty seems to be alright at least, but it's actually a little bit tricky here. Of course, we have our fairy type in the back, but we kind of need either some damage for tackle or all shields, and now we have some damage for tackle. Let's see if we can tackle them down, but it's actually going to still be very, very close if we can even tackle them down. Let's see. We see them just going for power punches so far, go for one foul play now, having us at around half health. We can go ahead and go for one close combat, trying to KO them now. Do they want to let it go? They don't. They're going to swap out now though into their Deoxys, and our Xerneas doesn't care. We can just go ahead, go for one Moonblast, and bye bye Deoxys. So no, they are not buffed anymore. We can hopefully take one move here in the beginning, and it's going to be a power punch, and now we will be able to reach the Hydro Cannon in time, and after this shield we will be able to just throw it and win us the game there. Very cool. Again, Xerneas coming clutch, getting to the Moonblast against the Deoxys, going to be very crucial here, as we see another Scrafty against us. Totally fine for us. Let's see what they want to do. They go for the power punch here, so I don't really have to be too scared, as I can now go ahead and go for one big Earthquake. I kind of want to get some damage or shield here, and I got the damage, which is all I really wanted, as I can now go into my Xerneas. We get out again the Steel type in the back, which is something that is very interesting to see here, because imagine you fight another fighter in the lead there. This would be a very bad for you at least. So we can now go for some close combats. Close combat going to get the shield from my opponent, and they can farm us down though, which means they have a lot of energy now on their Stunfisk, which is going to be a little bit tricky for them now, as we can not farm them down yet. We have to shield the Earthquake now. Very nice, baiting me first. Now we are shields down, and we see a Trevenant coming in. Against Trevenant, we of course have to go for Hydro Cannon and have to try to farm them down with Charm, as we can go ahead and go into our Ninetales, try to farm them all the way down, and let's see what we can do here. As the Shadow Ball doesn't KO us, we don't want to farm, we can just farm down anything anyway. We see the Scrafty coming in here, and this will be a good game. Kind of funny to see the opponent fainting from their own charge move because our fast move comes through. And we see a Mandibuzz against us. This is something that I want to face with my backline, not with my first Pokemon there, as we now go into our Xerneas. We get a Poison type in, and we have to let this move go through here. And at least we can get some extra energy now with our Swampert, I think, as we can go ahead and farm down the Skuntank. This should be pretty okay-ish. We can go for one fast move. I actually don't know where they got all the energy. I actually stayed in. I guess I stayed in a little bit more in the beginning. Well, it's fine, as we can now go ahead and go for one Hydro Cannon and go into our Ninetales. And of course, we are getting hardwalled by a double Poison line against our double Fairy line. But is it really the best or the worst or whatever? We will see here. They go for the Sludge Bomb. It's okay for us, as we can now try to shield the next one up as well. And we will be able to farm them down, I think, with 3 more. 1, 2, and 3. And we should have actually won the game. But thanks to the inconsistency of damage coming through, we are now going to lose the game, and this is kinda annoying. I may even be able to still win this if I stayed. I'm not sure, I don't think so, to be honest, but my damage should have went through before their charge move went through as well, but currently it's an inconsistency in the game if you can throw your charge move in those scenarios or not. And this time my opponent was lucky and got to their charge move in time. Like, it actually would have KO'd already. The Charm should have KO'd in this point of time. I'm not sure when this actually gets fixed and it's actually going to be consistent. It's more often not the case that you get the charge move off that you can get a charge move off. So like, it's often not really something that affects the game, but nowadays, like, yeah, this one got affected by this one. We see a Trevenant coming in, which is of course not the ideal scenario for us, so we can go ahead and go for some Hydro Cannons. Of course, it is a very horrible scenario actually for us, as our backline here with the Xerneas is going to have a pretty tough time as well. They go for one Seed Bomb, and they go actually for another Seed Bomb here, which is going to mean that we can go for one close combat, and I'm not sure if they know my energy generation, so we can now go ahead and get the final shield of my opponent, which is going to be very nice, but we're still kinda far behind, to be honest, as we can now go for another move, which is not the one that I wanted to go for. They will be able to win CMP against us, and the Hydro Cannon comes through now. We will be able to knock out the tree, and we're actually going to be able to still knock out the Drapion here as well, which is going to be nice. And this is going to be a good game. Drapion getting destroyed by a Shadow Swampert is always kind of fun to see, especially if you have also a Xerneas on your team. We see a Berserker in the lead. I'm going to CMP tie on him because I was like, if they go for close combat, they have to shield as well here. Otherwise, it's still fine. But actually, didn't actually expect them to win CMP, to be honest. But we will see that we can go for another charge move here. They are very low on health, and we can go ahead and swap into our Xerneas onto the charge move, which does basically no damage. So now let's see what's coming in. It's going to be a Talonflame, so we can at least align our bird and their bird against our Swampert here, and we can go for one close combat as well still to do some nice damage, trying to get this thing a little bit lower. But it's going to be a little bit tough one now because they're going to get to their moves pretty fast, and I'm pretty sure this is only a flame charge, so I can let this move go through, and I will be able to hopefully knock him out now. Otherwise, I still should be able to knock him out afterwards. Like, I still think I would survive one fast move, but they're going to let this move go through anyway. And we see a Cresselia coming in. We go straight for our charge move, trying to get some damage on them, and now we have to try to farm them all the way down with our Ninetales, and this is why Ninetales is such a good closer in general. Charm at the end of a game is like always so good, especially if you're gonna be able to get out the potential Steel type in the back there with your Xerneas, which also has access to close combat, so Here we can go for one more charge move or one more weather ball. I'm pretty sure they want to catch something, so I'm going to trust not throw a charge move here, and they go into their Berserker. And just to finish off the game, we're going to go for the resisted version with the Psyshock here. But yeah, this team actually worked out way better than expected. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one. Bye!